YouTube. Hold on, man. I thought I was ready, but I wasn't. Anyway, got my little light here, so the lighting doesn't affect my view. But anyway, I'll take my glasses off so it doesn't reflect. I'm really jumping online. I just want to share some information about being a barbershop owner. Just my story. Really, I feel like I haven't really done that. And I started my journey cutting hair when I was about 10, 11 years old. I was an artist from the age of 8 years old, and I started drawing. My first drawing that I can remember vividly is during October, right before Christmas. I wanted to draw something for school. I drew a witch on a broom flying into the moon, and I wanted my mom to help me, but she didn't, and she was downstairs drinking some brewskis with her friends, and I remember that day vividly. That was my first time drawing, and then I would just draw because I was always home, so anything I could draw on, I would, and that would come to bite me in the butt later on in life because I would draw on anything, any surface I would draw on. So yeah, but that's how I started my journey with art. And then later on, when I was about 12 years old, I did a design on my brother. I actually saw a video. I used to watch Inside Stuff. I thought I was gonna be an NBA player. That was my first dream to be. And from there on, I had watched Inside Stuff, and Anthony Mason, who used to play for the New York Knicks, was getting the design done in his head, and I was just like blown away. I had some wall super taper 2000s in the restroom that I used to use just to cut my hair, and I used to cut my brother's hair like that as well. And sorry, I heard a noise. And then so yeah, man, that's I started doing designs because of this gentleman that used to cut his hair, and he was out of Jamaica, Queens, where he cut. I forgot his name, man, but that's where my journey started, man. That's where it started. 12 years old doing designs. I didn't really start taking barbering serious until I was about 19, 20 years old, when I thought like, man, I can really do this. And I never knew that you can go to barber college. I never knew you could get a license. I never knew anything like that. I didn't have a blueprint on how to do fades, how to do tapers. I didn't know none of that stuff, and I just mimicked whatever or duplicated whatever I saw in pictures, and that's basically how I would guide myself. And cutting in layers, I learned that by myself because just shading, pretty much the contrast, I learned that just drawing. I went to a couple of art schools when I was younger. Did some classes, but nothing really that really changed my life. Nothing. I would just go just to see what I was capable of doing, but I learned a lot. But anyway, that's how the journey started. And now I'm a barbershop owner. I've gone on tour with Pacinos. I've traveled all over the country. I've worked for different companies. I've worked for Gibbs Grooming. I've worked for Oster. I've done work for Andis. I've done work for, oh man, what's the other one? Began, yeah, people call it Beijing Began. They're based out of Atlanta. I've done work for Cool Spikes. I've done work for Hair Evolution. I've done work for numerous amount of companies, man. There's a couple more. I've done work for the San Antonio Spurs. I've done work for the New York Rangers. I shot a commercial with them. I was also in a TV show with Cedric the Entertainer. I won $15,000. I was the first winner of that show that aired on WB 35. I've been in magazines. I've been in on different TV shows, like here locally in San Antonio, different news outlets, been on the radio, been interviewed by people from Baltimore, Argentina. Just I've done a lot of crazy stuff. A lot of my work's been on Yahoo, my work's been on TMZ, my work's been on ESPN, my work's been on numerous amount of things, man. It's been crazy. My barber resume is good, but I thought I was ready to be an owner, and this is what this video is about: the priorities of being an owner. You have to know that you have to be ready to be a leader, and as much as some people don't feel like it, you have to get that locked in your mind. and being a leader. You have to set the example. And some days, bro, people are not gonna follow. You can clean your station every day. You can be the busiest barber in the station every day. You can keep track of all your, receipts. You can keep track of your taxes. You can keep track of everybody that comes in and out of the shop, everybody that signs in. So you can see, like, look, man, we had 62 walk-ins last week. We should be at 75. Let's all collectively promote the shop. Then you want to be able to maintain your everybody's booth rent. You have to know what your number is. I have 14 stations in here. I can have up to 14, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 stations if I wanted to. I don't want that. But when it's not if, it's when I turn this location into a barber college, things are going to change, because that's my next step. And I'll get to that in a minute. But being a barbershop owner, priorities is making sure you do your taxes, making sure you keep up with your credit. You want to keep your credit score, man. You want to hit at least a 700 so you can get the better deals, better interest. How do you work on your credit? Well, you have to have, you want to start off, if you need to get a secured credit card for 500, you go to the bank, whatever credit union. You could actually in one day apply for three different credit cards from three different credit bureaus, and credit card companies, and be one inquiry. So you have to learn about all that kind of stuff. I don't want to spit too much, but that's one thing. You want to build up your credit. There's different organizations out there that'll help. I went through Live Fund, and they helped me with my first loan, which was like 17,000. Then I renewed it for 30,000. Then I renewed it for 50,000. Now I'm at a point, because I've been open for 5 years, I qualify for $100,000 loan. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna jump on that because it's free money. Being in debt is not always a bad thing. I don't get taxed on that money once it goes into my account, because it's debt. So once you learn about that, another thing is make sure that you start your LLC, understand how to run an LLC. Make sure you protect that. Put everything under your LLC, man. If you can put your house under your LLC when you're ready to buy one, do it. I'm telling you, man, it helps minimize your debt to credit ratio. I have business credit with my bank, and I qualified for 50,000 right off the bat. So that's another thing that are priorities in keeping track of your business credit. You have to be open for 2 years. You have to have a website. You have to have a Duns and Bar. You have to have like certain things. You can research that on YouTube. But these are things that a lot of people didn't teach me, so I'm just throwing it out there. See, hopefully I can help somebody who's trying to come up. And as far as location, you want to be off of a highway. You want to be close to a school. You want to be close to a military base. Right now, the market is very saturated. But if you can target whatever age group your main age group, I don't care if it's 17 through 25. If that is your main target, you have to understand, do those people have the money to spend on haircuts? Who is going to be your main target? How are you going to get them to come to your shop? What's going to be in your shop that's going to make people want to come? Those are other things that I would tell you to focus on. Marketing, flyers are not it. Scratch that out. You can, but I'm telling you right now, that's not the future. The future is having digital marketing, digital real estate, online, having a presence on TikTok, having a presence on Instagram. I mean, you want to be able to Google, and everything should be able to pop up. There's different programs out there or apps that can help you do that, where you put all your stuff into one place. But I would recommend you get a free website or pay somebody to create your website. Free website is on Google. You can also Google that and how to get a free website on Google. I use Square for myself. The Square app, I pay it monthly. All my customers book on my app, and it makes it a lot easier for me. That's basically I pay like $75 a month for the app itself. Is like a secretary for me, and it helps me tremendously. People pay before they come, so when they do come, I don't gotta get any money from them unless they tip. Usually when they do tip, they Venmo me, Cash App me, or something like that. And the reason I highly recommend you do it that way, we're almost very close to being a cashless society. So they're going to keep track of all your ins and outs. So make sure that you organize yourself. Please be organized. That's one of the weaknesses that I had. Not organized, not jotting down when people pay booth rent, not keeping track of when people started. Make sure when people do start, you get a copy of their driver's license and get a copy of their barber license. And be fair to yourself, man. I would honestly recommend you right now, to make sure you collect booth rent on Tuesdays. If that's the case, you want to be able to say, you know what, I'm collecting booth rent on Tuesdays, because then throughout the week, if they work and they decide to leave and not, you like, they just, I had one gentleman that just picked up his stuff yesterday. He didn't even call me and say, you know what, Joe, thanks for the opportunity, man. I'm not gonna be able to be here anymore because I can't afford the rent. And that's cool. If you can't afford the rent, I'm like, hey man, if you can't afford it, it's all good. And some people get their feelings hurt. It's like, well, it's not that I can't afford it, it's just that's too much. I'm like, man, it's never too much. It's never too much for you to be in a place where you can grow, a place that has AC, has, washer dryer. If you're not utilizing the space, man, I can't do nothing about it. So, and the crazy thing is, for me, I pray to God. I say, you know what, God, remove the people in my life that don't need to be here. And people have been dropping like flies. So I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? But I trust God that He's going to provide for me. So that's a different story. But I want to let y'all know, man, your priorities as being an owner, and you got to keep yourself in check, man. Keep yourself in check. Control your emotions. Make logical decisions. Don't get upset and take it personal. Sometimes it is personal, but don't take it personal, because you don't have control of those things. You have control over your feelings. You have control over your thoughts. So even though somebody did you wrong, or even though somebody, for someone not to even have the respect of telling me, like, you know what, Joe, man, I'm picking up my stuff today. They didn't even call me. They didn't say nothing. And that's happened a lot before. There's people that have worked here and then they leave and they don't pay their booth rent. And they leave when I'm not here because I'm doing something outside the shop. And it's like, I get infuriated, man. I want to retaliate. I want to go make an example out of them, and I don't, because I'm like, you know what, man, I'm going to let God retaliate for me. And I'll leave it at that. But it's hard being a business owner, man. You have to know these things, and there's contracts that you can have. There's they have to, anytime you hire somebody and they're a 1099 contractor, they have to get you print out a 1099 form and have them sign it, so you can have a copy of that. At the end of the year, you can say, okay, this is how much this person paid, and keep a file on all your barbers, so they can understand, like, this is a business, man. This is not a hangout. This is not a clubhouse. This is not a daycare. This is not that, man, because I promise you, man, you may have the dream, you may have the vision, but somebody will come and destroy that, man, because of their mentality. They don't have the vision, and they'll criticize you and critique you real quick, like, oh man, if this was my shop, I do this and I do that and blah 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 blah. And it's like, man, it's easy to say that. It's like you're watching a basketball game and you're watching these guys play. Oh man, if I was out there, man, that dude's trash, blah blah. But you don't even know what that dude's going through. You don't know where his mind is at. You don't know what other obstacles he may be facing. And as an owner, sometimes that happens to us. So we're human too, man. So regardless of that, I'm just saying, like, understand that you have to do a lot more. And being an owner, being a barber, then being a mentor, and then being like you're trying to expand, and then that's just workspace. That has nothing to do with your family, your spouse, your dogs, your cars, whatever it is, other hobbies that you have. There has to be a balance, man, because I promise you, if you don't balance, you will get destroyed. And that happened to me, man. I promise you, man. I was so determined to be successful that I was weak in other areas of my life. I was not aware. I was not conscious about a lot of the things that were going on, because I was so determined to prove to people that I was somebody, that just because I grew up in the projects doesn't mean that I was going to fail. But when you do fail, and you will, it's okay. Learn from it. Every lesson that you learn through failure is going to strengthen you to be stronger. And I'm just talking to the specific people out there that have gone through it. Don't give up on yourself, man. Dust it off. It's okay to cry. Let it out. Let the frustration out. Go to the gym. Go beat up a bag. Do something. But then sit down. Take a deep breath in. Release all that stress. Take another deep breath in. Release all that stress. And then focus. What is your plan? How can you fix this? How can you fix yourself? What can you do and what can't you do? Like, you really have to go through that every day. It's getting tougher and tougher to run a barbershop, man, because everybody wants to be a chief. Nobody wants to be an Indian. Everybody wants to be a boss, but nobody feels like, they want to be underneath that. They're like, nah, man. It's like sometimes you got to stand back, man, and let Steph Curry does what he does. And then all the rest of the players are like, hey, man, we winning. And that's what we're trying to do, is win. not everybody can be the number one, you know what I'm saying? And it's sometimes it's tough, man. And I always thought like I was gonna have a strong team. I always thought like I'm a good person. I've been putting my city on the map for years. I'm fair. You know, I love what I do. I'm so invested in the craft. I want to just attract talented barbers that want to work with me. But no, man, all I attracted was people that were damaged, people that had issues, people that had drug issues, people that had criminal issues, people that had relationship issues. And it's like I'm sitting there and I'm like, God, why do these people keep coming? Like everybody in here is messed up. Nobody that comes is like, you know, ready to win. Everybody has an injury somehow. And that's life, you know, and I don't blame the people. I'm just saying like I really wanted to just attract people that were just like, you know what, Joe, you don't have to do nothing for me, Joe. Just as long as AC's working, light is working, dude, the stations are big, I'm gonna make it pop off on this little corner right here that's mine. I'm gonna make it pop off. And that's what I wanted. I wanted like go-getters like that. And it was hard, you know, it's been hard to find those kind of people. So and it's hard to balance, man, like for real, it's hard to balance the barbershop and cover the rent and then cover the overhead and the Wi-Fi, security, you know, phone, you know, and then marketing. You have to have a budget for marketing. So all that are the priorities that I suggest that you keep track of, man. So hopefully if you're writing this down and you're making a list of things that you need to be successful as a barbershop owner, you know, location is good. And if you have a group of guys that really do believe in you and that are trustworthy, I promise you, man, you can make it happen and you can do great things. But you got to stay locked in every day, man. And for the first, I'm survived 5 years. That's through a pandemic. That's through like, you know, the whole COVID thing. Then we're in a recession and I'm here and I'm more excited than ever because I know God's on my side. I believe it wholeheartedly that I'm going to open my school very soon. And that's going to be my element, is speaking to people the way I speak to my phone, the way I'm speaking to you, is sharing the knowledge. I think that's the reason God put me in that position to experience all these broken barbers that came through and all the people that did me wrong, because it strengthened me up to be able to say, you know what, man, I overcame these things. And now that I know what it takes, hopefully I can help other barbers that want to open up a barbershop, you know, excel at this and not have to go through all the pain that I went through. So hopefully you guys took notes and hopefully this helps you in some way. And I just wish all the barbers out there, man, the love and the encouragement to be successful at this, because it's not for everybody, man. Standing up 10, 12 hours a day is not for everybody. It takes a lot to be an entrepreneur. It takes a lot to understand what it takes outside of just being a barber, man. It takes a lot to understand how to connect the dots, because we got so much social media stuff going on. We have a lot of TikTok, Instagram, and to balance all that, it's another challenge, man. But hopefully you guys, you know, this was valuable to somebody. I know, I mean, I don't got a lot of viewers right now, and you know, it's all good. I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about reaching the people that need to hear this. So if you heard this, man, and you watched this video, thank you. Just give me a thumbs up, and I'll keep posting, man. I'm posting for God tells me to post. I post, man, and the people that watch. I'm not here to get a pat on the back. I don't need validation from anybody. I just need validation from God, and that's all that matters to me, man. And that's what I want. So hopefully you guys got enough, you know, gems out of this. And this is reality. This is not, I'm not living a fantasy. I'm not telling you that I got a Lamborghini outside, that I'm living in this big house. It's not that, bro. I'm telling y'all what my life is like. I just bought a house, you know, and it's been an experience, but it's also a new chapter in my life. And one door closes, another one opens. So like I said, when God removes stuff out of your life, you're making room for something new, and God's bringing a lot of new stuff into my life, and I'm excited, man. So all right, man, well, y'all stay blessed and y'all stay faded.